Hello, I'm Roman Ring, and today I will be teaching section 11.5, the role of assessment in teaching. And this is on pages 385 to 393 for those who have actually been following along in the textbook. So this section goes over the role of assessment in teaching, from what an assessment is, to its challenges, to standardized assessments, to teacher accountability assessments, and high stakes testing. So to begin, the book defines assessment as a process that provides teachers with information to make decisions about teaching and provides students with information to make decisions about learning. That all that really means is that it provides teachers with information that'll help them, you know, teach their material and figure out what they need to work on and what they are good on. And it'll provide the students information on how to, on like how they should learn the material. So to start, when people think of assessment, they generically think of, okay, it's a test the teacher makes, gives to the students take it, the teacher grades it, the students get their grades back, and that's it. But there's more to assessment than meets the eye. Um, for one, it will really help the teacher because it provides the teacher with information on if they're effectively teaching or not. So it'll give them information so they can figure out a way to develop new strategies for teaching, new new like ways to teach the material to the students so that they can actually learn it and keep it within there and absorb the knowledge. And it'll help develop strategies for like improving the teacher's effectiveness of being a teacher. Um, Now to move into the problems and challenges of student assessment, the biggest one is that it is very difficult to assess a student's uh, learning if the student actually learned the material with 100% accuracy. And it's hard because, as the book says, it is difficult to determine precisely what another person does or does not understand. Of course, I mean, I feel like we've all felt that where we don't exactly know what someone else understands or does not understand. And that is the same way with teaching. The assessments are not foolproof way of being able to truly understand if if the students actually have learned the material or if they just, have good memorization skills. And another thing, another challenge is, can it even be measured? Can like what a student learns be measured by an assessment? Because depending on the class and the subject, some things that the students do just cannot be directly measured with like an assessment and to see if they actually have learned enough. And a third challenge uh, that was pointed out by Albert Einstein was that not everything that counts can be counted and not everything we count counts. Basically, what that means is that, basically what that means is that when students take the assessment, what counts is that they've learned the material, but that cannot always be shown. And what the teachers sometimes, count when they make the assessments and like grade them, it doesn't actually count for the fact that the students would have learned the material. All right. Moving on, we have standardized assessments. Now, standardized assessments are, of course, those pencil and paper tests that, we've done in large groups. Pennsylvania's got like the PSSAs and stuff. And these are the ones that standardized assessments are known for, being for having like certain conditions, certain ways the tests are scored, and certain ways the scores are interpreted, and and that's why they call it standardized, because those things are standardized. And the first standardized test, actually, in the United States was administered in the May 1800s by a guy by the name of Horace Mann, because he wanted to classify students by their ability and gathered evidence to see the effectiveness of the state school system. So, to begin, we have what are known as international assessments. And international assessments are, of course, international. Like it is like the government, the federal government, or like the United States as a whole. And it's just, it's statewide, it's countrywide, so it's not like state specific standardized tests. And the second type is norm reference assessments, and that is basically what that means is that the students' scores will be compared to students who've gotten similar scores, and this basically allows teachers to rank students in terms of their achievement. The third type of standardized assessment is a criterion reference assessment. And this is what that basically means is that students take the test and their performance on the test is compared to a defined criteria for like what they should know and have learned. And the difference with criterion reference assessments and like norm reference assessments is that criterion doesn't like indicate what is average and typical for students for like the same age group and grade, kind of like how norm reference assessments are. So most of like criterion like reference assessments are probably like used by teachers to assess like specific things a student should know, not just see how a student compares to other students. Now, next up, we have, of course, accountability, because, of course, as stated in other previous chapters, teachers are held very accountable, and assessment giving is not the exception. And so states have tried to see and to push accountability for teachers. So, of course, coming with that means teachers are held accountable for students like mastery of these like state mandated like educational standards and assessments. Now, finally, we're going to end off with high stakes testing. And these ones, now high stakes testing is basically just your like state mandated tests. And the high stakes testing is known for, because when they students take this test, these tests can determine a student can participate in extracurricular activities, graduate, and if teachers and administrators can get some pay increases. So of course these are called high stakes tests because the stakes are high for the students and the schools themselves. And in 2018, 13 states required students to pass like exit exams to receive a high school diploma. That's some pretty high stakes to take a test to get a diploma. That's some pretty high stakes, and that really could put some stress on the students, and that could put some stress on the students and cause them to not really do good on them, which wouldn't really like give appropriate feedback to how well they actually learned the material. And how these connect to teacher accountability. It's quite the fact that the teachers have to get them prepared for these high stakes tests, and you know, teachers could potentially get a pay raise if students do good on this. And of course, if the student doesn't do well, it's going to be the teacher's going to be blamed, because it's the teacher's job to get the students ready for these high stakes tests. And well, that is the end of this lesson. I hoped you guys learned something, because I sure know I learned a lot, and I will see you maybe never, maybe again, who knows.